So I would officially like to welcome you to 50 Tech Tips for your tool belt. My name is Jillian Thiel. I am one of the co-presenters today and the moderator. We have a lovely group of presenters today. We'll kick things off with Kenneth Elliott from South Carolina Legal Services, then transition to Lauren Klein from the Legal Aid Association of California, followed by Irene Moe from a fellow at the American Bar Association, and Ket Ng from lsntap.org, and Jeannie Ortiz from Pro Bono Net. And I'll throw in a few tips at the end as well. So I'll pause to see if there's any questions, but otherwise we'll be turning it over to Kenneth.
All right, thank you so much. I'm just doing a quick rundown of a couple of things, but I guess let's get started. My name is Kenneth Elliott, and I am the webmaster and IT support specialist here at South Carolina Legal Services. And I have 7 tips that I kind of use constantly when I'm doing websites and managing websites here at the organization. And as I show my screen, I'm going to show you our new legal services page here that we just uploaded probably 2-3 months ago. And so for the first tip, we use a tool called, there's a tool that I kind of use, and this is not really with web development or web design, but it's a great tool that Edge actually provides within the Windows 10 interface called Edge Read Out Loud feature. So as you can see, we have a lot of text here, and the number one reason I kind of use this tool is because when I'm doing emails, sometimes I get a little bit excited and I'm thinking faster than I'm typing. And so I might have proofreading errors in my emails. And so sometimes what I'll do with these emails is I'll put them in like a text field in a website, like kind of like an online text editor. And I will proceed to do what they call the read out loud feature. So if you highlight some text, you can right click and you'll see an option that says read out loud. And what will happen is that the web browser, the Edge web browser, will read you that actual text on the screen, which is also a great accessibility tool. But for me, I use it to make sure that, excuse me, that I'm saying things that I want to say correctly in the email and make sure that spelling and pronunciation is correct there. Going on to the next tool that we use, that I use is Page Speed Insights. This is a free tool provided by Google, where Google measures exactly how fast your website loads. And if you're not up on some of the technology in regards to what Google is going to do in the near future, there's kind of what this term called page speed Armageddon, where in probably like 2 or 3 months, Google is going to lower the rank of your listing in their results if your speed is substantially slow. So one of the things you would want to look at, especially on this interface here, you would type in exactly what the website that you're searching for, and then it will give you some information on your site speed. So it will say, yes, 1.5 seconds, that's fast. Of course, that's usually if you're under 3, that's where you want to be. And then optimization is in regards to the mobile experience. So medium 62, that's pretty good for mobile displays. And then, like I said, they also have the tab where you can do the desktop and you can see how that's performing. So the web speed is pretty good on desktop, as well as the optimization is good on the desktop as well. Now, the next tool is one that I always recommend, especially for organizations that have many listings, and it's Google Business Page. So if you've ever wondered how to get the actual information here on the right pane when people search for your office, you would go to business.google.com, and you would enter in information that would actually manage that page. So as you saw, I was on the Charleston page. I'm gonna see if I can load this up real quick. And you can get you can provide all the information on this page here. So you can get you can upload the address. Well, it will ask for your address anyway. So you can upload your address, you can upload photos, you can add office hours, holiday hours, you can even add you can even message various people as well, and see reviews that people have left on your organization. And also now they're kind of providing a way where you can ask questions on these Google pages so that people can ask questions quickly and reply back to them instantly. And so I really recommend this because it's really good for SEO. And plus, since everybody's using Google, it's awesome. It's an awesome opportunity for you to be seen easily and quickly when people search your office, your organization's name. Now, one of the tools that I've used a lot recently, especially to know if someone owns a social media name, is namecheck.com, NAMECHK.com. And what this allows you to do is to type to see exactly if that username is available, and then if it is, on what platforms it's available on. So if I type in, let me see if I can type this in, SC Legal, it will do a quick search and it will let me know what domains are available for SC Legal. And then at the bottom, it would also let me know which social media platforms have already taken that username. And so even as well, you can kind of hover over this link and you can see in the bottom left-hand corner, there's facebook.com/sclegal. So if you own it, of course, it's not going to display, but if you're wondering who owns that domain, that username for social media, you can click that link and it actually takes you to that page to see who owns it. Of course, it doesn't help you. If someone else owns it, you can't say, hey, I want to own that domain, but it just gives you an idea. So if you're looking for a username that's the same across all of your social media and all of your domain platforms, that's the best way to go. The next tool that I use, especially when we're doing sliders on our website or using imagery for our newsletter, is Pexels, which is a great free tool to obtain photos. And what you can do is you can scroll through any one of these photos here, or you could type in an actual photo that you would need. So if I type in lawyer, of course, that's pretty general there, but you can kind of see that you can get a couple of photos that are free of use, and you don't have to worry. I think the only thing you may have to worry about doing is providing accreditation to the photographer. And you could probably put that right there in the image, or you could put it in the caption right underneath the image. And I haven't found a photo I haven't really liked. So they're really good photos. They're high quality. You can get them at about 2,000, 3,000 pixels in width and height. So they're definitely high resolution, and you'll have to worry about them if you need to make them smaller or make them larger. You shouldn't make them larger anyway, just because they're already high resolution. But if you need them for any platform, you should be able to use them on any platform. And then the last tool that I use is the Noun Project, which is kind of an iconography website where you can find icons that you would need to post into maybe also as well a website or a PowerPoint presentation. And so if you were looking for any particular icon, I don't know, we'll just say, let's see what happens when, well, of course, it'll say Judge Dredd. But if you type in Judge, it'll pull up relevant judge type icons that you can use, which is great. And like I said, as well with Pexels, you can also use these icons. You have to give accreditation for these icons as well. And I want to say But I wanted to say also, as long as they're, I have to double check that, but as long as for Pixel and for the Noun project, as long as you're not trying to sell a product, you may not have to give accreditation for those. But like I said, both of these tools, Pixels and the Noun project, provides a simple way for you to grab great photos and icons to upload to your website or your PowerPoint presentation, or even to a document if you wanted to do so. I think that might be it for me. I guess I'll turn it back to Jillian.
Great. Thank you, Kenneth. These are really wonderful tips for the legal tech community. I did want to call out a couple of comments on the presentation. Sart just mentioned that many of them on both Pixels and the Noun project are public domain and no credits are needed. And then Paul commented on Google Business Pages that they use that and are seeing questions posted asking for legal advice and including details of their situation. So it's publicly available, and he checked with Google and there's no way to disable that. So just providing that additional piece of information on Google Business Pages. So just a reminder to monitor your Google page. Thanks, Zane, for that comment.
Yeah, just be kind of mindful of them, because there'll be people asking for questions on there a lot of times. And I think it may be something where a policy may have to be put into place with the organization, so that some people in the organization, or even people not within the organization, they may come onto your actual business page and answer those questions. So there might be a way, we might have to come up with a solution how to address that.
And then I also dropped a link in there to Transcend's free legal icons. Thank you, Nicole.
Okay, hi everybody. My name is Lauren Klein. I'm the directing attorney at the Legal Aid Association of California. I'm not really in a tech role at my organization, and I'm no tech expert, but I do like to use what technology I can to make my life easier. So I'm going to show you some user-friendly tech tips that will hopefully help you be more productive. Okay, my first one is just a website called haveibeenpwned.com. It's a really easy website where you just go, you plug in your email address, and it'll pull up for you any data breaches that your email address has been involved in. So you can see here, I did a little screenshot. These were a couple that I was involved in: an Adobe breach, a Kickstarter breach. It's a really easy way to see if your email address and password have possibly been compromised, and then you can go ahead and change them. This is actually a way that I convinced some folks in my office to keep changing their passwords and make sure that they're not using the same password on all their sites. Next up is something called Loom. This is a Chrome extension that essentially allows you to record what you're doing on your screen. So if you've ever had to show somebody how to do something, rather than having to go over to their office to their computer, or type up an email with a bunch of screenshots, this allows you to just record what you're doing and send it right over to someone in a link or as a file. You can see here you can record just the tab that you're in, you can record your whole screen, you can include audio or not, but it's a quick way to just show somebody how to do something. Next, I have visualping.io. This is a cool tool, a free tool that will monitor any changes to a website for you. So you just go there, you create an account, and then you can pick websites or portions of websites that you want to monitor, and it will notify you when changes have been made. So you can see in my example here, I monitor a site where grants are posted. So I get a notification every time a new grant has been posted because the page changes. So it's a really cool way if you're trying to keep up with something and any changes that are being made without having to actually go back and check that website yourself. Next is Write Clearly. This is an amazing tool from the folks at Open Advocate. You can find it on their site that will just test the reading level of any website. So if you have a website that's public facing and you want the content to be easy to understand, not at too high of a reading level, you just plug in your website and they will evaluate it for you and even give you tips about how to make it simpler to read. This is really helpful. I know as lawyers, we sometimes use jargon without even thinking about it, and this is a great tool to make sure that your websites are at an appropriate readability level. Then we have Trello. This is one of my favorite tools. I use it all the time for tons of different purposes. It's basically a way to do to-do lists. You can create these Trello boards for any different topic. And then within each board, you have columns, and then you put to-do items on these cards. The cards can be moved around. You can put to-do items on the cards. You can comment on the cards. You can share these among a team so that a whole team can be working on a project together. It's a really amazing tool. There's just an endless number of plugins to this that you can download too to kind of customize it. So I have an example here. This is one board that I share with another person and where I've done some plugins that allow me to change the colors of cards. You can label for who's working on different things. There's really cool plugins. There's one that lets you the cards will age if you haven't looked at them in a while. So if you haven't dealt with a to-do item, it starts to get all crinkled and old and brown looking to make you realize that you need to pay attention to it. It's a great tool that is also free to use. I've got Airtable and Asana listed down here. These are not tools that I use, but I know there are other very popular project management tools. Next, we have Tab Snooze. If you're anything like me, you find yourself with a ton of tabs open on your browser. I do this all the time. I don't want to close a tab because I want to remember to look at it. Tab Snooze is a plugin that lets you just snooze a tab. So if you want to close the tab, but you don't want to forget about it, you can have it pop back up for you later in the day, on a different day. You can just keep it stored with your other snooze tabs to look at later. So it's a great way to kind of speed things up, streamline, get all those tabs closed, but not lose them. OneTab is another great tool that will basically take, a whole browser's worth of open tabs, and with one click, it just condenses it all into a list of links. Next is Stay Focused. This is a tool that allows you to block certain websites or to limit your time on them per day. So for example, if I wanted to make sure I wasn't spending too much time on Facebook or on Twitter during my workday, I could tell the tool, only let me do 10 minutes on Facebook or Twitter today, and then once you've hit that mark, it'll block those sites for you. It's a great way to stay productive. Freedom and Rescue Time are similar apps that will allow you to do that. Freedom is kind of the same thing. You can block certain sites. Rescue Time will actually monitor and evaluate how much time you're spending on each site per day, so you can take a look and see where you truly spent your time. But I definitely recommend this one. It's helpful. Next up, I have some Microsoft Word tricks. All of us have been using Microsoft Word for so long that we feel very proficient and like we know how to do everything in there, but I'm always finding new keyboard shortcuts and things that just make things a little bit quicker. So I'm going to show you a few of these that were ones that I didn't previously know about. So most people know that if you double click a word, it'll highlight the word, or if you triple click, it'll highlight the whole paragraph. But something I didn't know was that if you do a control click, it will highlight just one sentence. That's pretty helpful. Another one is a way to insert a table without having to go up onto the toolbar. If you just do some plus signs and you tab over for however many columns you want to have and press enter, it throws a table in there for you without you having to take your hands off the keyboard. So that's pretty nice. Another one is if you're trying to fill some space in a document as a placeholder, the Microsoft Word can put in any number of paragraphs of random text for you. So if you just do equal rand and then however many paragraphs you want and press enter, it will fill in random text. That's a great way to save some space or to hold some space. Another one that was news to me was that you can double click anywhere to place your cursor anywhere. I'm someone, that would return down, tab until I get to where I want. But actually, if you just double click, you can place the cursor anywhere you want instantly. Another good keyboard shortcut that I wasn't previously using was Control K to insert a hyperlink. Control K, and it'll bring that box up for you. And then this last one is cutting and pasting in spikes, which basically allows you to build up a bunch of stuff on your clipboard to all paste at once, which is something I wasn't aware of before either. So if I just want to take some pieces of text, like maybe this sentence, you can do Control F3, it'll grab that. I can grab some more, say I want to get this. Control F3, maybe one more. Control F3. Then if you do Control Shift F3, it will paste there for you all the things that you had built up on your clipboard. So this is just some cool little Microsoft Word keyboard shortcuts. Next up is Prezi. This is a great alternative to PowerPoint for making presentations. It's a web-based tool that just lets you make things that look a little more dynamic. I had a video here playing on the slide so you can see what it looks like, but I'm not sure if you all can see that live, but we can get that uploaded into the video if you'd like to see. It just creates really dynamic presentations, very user-friendly, and it's a cool alternative to PowerPoint. Next is Easely. This is a free online tool that you can use to create infographics. There are tons of templates and samples. You can also start from scratch, but it's a tool that has tons of free icons and things that you can use just to make documents that look really dynamic and really professional. I've used this in a lot of my lobbying and advocacy work. This is a sample of one document that I've made on Easely. It's just a cool way to make really dynamic infographics. Infogram and Piktochart are other great tools. These ones are a little heavier on making graphs. You can see here I created a pie chart right within this tool, but if you have more complicated graphs that you want to create, Infogram and Piktochart are really good tools. Next I have Canva. This is similar. It's another free online tool for creating graphics and images. What's cool about this one is that it has a lot of templates for social media. So it will have, you know, a pre-made template that's good for a Facebook post or for a Facebook banner photo. There's tons of free layouts that you can use and customize. This here is one that I made for a post for my organization's Facebook page, but it's a great tool to make good looking graphics for social media. Down at the bottom here, I have all of my favorite sites for getting free stock photos, including Pexels, which Kenneth just showed you. These other ones are also great places to look for free stock photos. And that is it. I'll hand it over to Irene.
Great. And before I pass it off to Irene, I just wanted to note a comment from Trevor, who mentioned that there's another, I put it into the chat, but there's another keystroke that you could do that allows you to control for the number of paragraphs and the number of sentences per paragraph. I just shared that into the chat. These are great. I never knew some of these tricks for Microsoft Word. These are very helpful.
Hey everyone, I think I was just on mute for a little bit. My name's Irene and I'm a fellow at the ABA Center for Innovation. And my project is focused on helping low income and marginalized individuals understand their privacy and data security risks. So I want to start with some tips I think everyone can start employing to help stay safe online and with their digital devices. The first tip I want to give is securing the physical security of your device, which a lot of people already have password protected screens that will lock down your device when you've stepped away to prevent unauthorized access. But if your device is lost or stolen, having a device tracking software app on your phone will save you a lot of headache when that happens. Both iPhones and Androids have a Find My iPhone or Find My Device app that you can download to track your device and enable remote data wiping, which means that if you can't recover your phone, you can at least wipe all the information off of it. But Prey is a company that offers free tracking capabilities for Windows, iOS, and Android products. And if you pay a $5 monthly subscription, they can also enable remote wiping for up to 3 devices. The next tip to secure the physical safety of your device is using a privacy screen. You can get these for your laptop from 3M on Amazon. And if you don't like the regular look of the black privacy screen, I have mine in gold, which is a pretty interesting look for people who aren't used to seeing a privacy screen and got that color. For cell phones, I like privacy screens from Zag. They have a lifetime warranty on all your screen protectors, and Zag's privacy screen doesn't interfere with barcode readers, so you don't have to worry about having extra hassle at TSA or when you're scanning tickets on your phone. In addition to securing the physical safety of your phone or devices, protecting the software on your device is also important. A lot of people have antivirus for their Windows, but there's also antivirus available for Android and Apple products. Avira is a company that offers free antivirus for all these devices. I have it on my cell phone and on my Mac, and it's set up to run virus scans every so often just to make sure that your devices are clean and they're secure. And I know this is a tip that you guys probably hear often, and it was a tip last year too, but I still don't think enough people are using password managers. It's important to have strong and unique passwords for each of your accounts, and to keep them all straight, you can store them in a password manager. And this is great because password managers are usually portable from device to device, so you don't have to worry about re-entering them when you get a new phone or a new laptop. 1Password and LastPass are the two most recommended passwords, and you can create a master password that will sort of like control them all. And if you are worried about losing your master password, you can write it down physically and lock it away in a drawer or safe somewhere. If you have a strong password on your device, a strong password on your password manager, the chances that both of those things that will get compromised is pretty slim. This is another repeat tip, and again, I don't think enough people use it, is two-factor authentication. This can be set up on a lot of accounts now, especially as far as like banking and Google, and now Twitter is also implementing this. Even if someone has gained access to your passwords, which is usually the first line of defense, it's two-factor authentication provides an extra layer of protection to prevent, complete access to your accounts. And to wrap up my privacy and data security related tips, this tip encompasses them all. Security Planner is a privacy and data security checkup tool created by Citizen Lab. And what it does, it created a 3-part survey that you can take, and it'll include step-by-step instructions to give you a prioritized list of tips to improve your digital security. So if you want to find more information about how to implement my previous tips or any other security-related tech tips, you can go to Security Planner, and they have it pretty well laid out, and it's very accessible and pretty open to people who are just trying to, learn little steps to make sure they're secure online. This tip is related to productivity. If you're like me and you always have like a billion things on your mind, it's helpful to follow the Pomodoro technique, which is breaking down your work into focused time blocks of 25 minutes separated by a 5-minute break. I use the Be Focused app, which is a built-in timer for the Pomodoro technique. And what I like about this app is that it helps me create checklists. So during my working time blocks, if I find my mind wandering to something else, I keep a notebook nearby and I quickly jot down what has caused my mind to wander. And during those 5-minute breaks, that's when I address some of those wandering thoughts. So it's definitely helped me cut down on the multitasking and let me get through tasks quicker. This is a feature I just discovered a couple weeks ago. When you are using Zoom for video meetings or conferences, you can set your video settings to touch up your appearance. This isn't Photoshop, but it will definitely get rid of the under eye circles that you might have and smooth out your complexion. This tip is for people who get annoyed with group text. The Hey SMS blast is something that I use to send text to multiple people without creating a group conversation. You can even create groups within the app, but it will still send individual texts to individual people. Another thing too about this is that it's free, which a lot of similar apps aren't. If you're traveling in cities with the car, you can use Spot Hero to find and prepay for parking. Spot Hero is available in most major cities and airports, and right now they have a referral bonus for new users, and I've included my promo code there. This is really great if you are bringing a car to a city and you don't want to pay like the $60 a night valet parking at hotels. Spot Hero is a really affordable way to get parking in the city. And finally, if you are like me and you like to travel, but you can't even afford to go downstairs, following the Points Guy and Scott Cheap Flights are a great way to travel on a budget and maximize the funds that you do have. Scott Cheap Flights are really good for, planning trips that you want to do that you haven't been able to, scout out cheap flights for, and the Points Guy will help you figure out how to game the credit cards to get the most points on your reward travel. And that's it for me.
Great, thank you so much, Irene. There were a couple comments, one from Cheryl who noted that Dashlanes is also really good for passwords. And then Michael commented that, and I didn't know this, LastPass is available for teams to share corporate passwords. So that will allow you to have a business account and a personal account to keep things separated. Very helpful comments. Great. And with that, I will transition over to Ket.
Okay, here we go. Well, I just want to say, so the corporate accounts are, going back to the LastPass comment, corporate accounts are very handy because rather than having to share all of the passwords with everybody, that lets you share passwords with people without them actually knowing the password. And then when they're done with the project, they can move on and not have to have that knowledge baggage. But anyways, and I think I might need to back up a few. Okay, so my name is Ket Ng. I am at LS-NTAP. I help out with these webinars and as well as the blog and the NTAP mailing list. I do some tech stuff, a little bit of legal stuff, and yeah, just sort of get by. So my first tip going right in is manuals.lib. It is a gigantic online repository of every manual you can possibly imagine. It is super helpful because either you've bought the thing 5 years ago and you just don't have the manual anymore because you moved, you lost boxes, something, or you bought something used or given a gift and didn't come with the manual. This place has pretty much, it almost certainly has it. So I've used it occasionally, and it's a better way of organizing. It's searchable, super convenient. I guess you can get it on mobile. I don't bother. If I want it, I want a big screen. My next tip is uBlock Origin. In some circles, ad blocks is slightly controversial, but I think as a security thing and just sort of an ease of use, they're indispensable for doing any sort of online living. Not only does that make it just visually more appealing by removing some of the clutter that ads provide, but it's a security thing because occasionally, ads will contain malicious content and can attempt to compromise your computer. And on top of that, it'll actually make pages load faster because you're just not downloading the ads. uBlock Origin is the one I recommend, which is a distinct entity from uBlock plain. There's a little bit of drama behind that, but suffice to say, this is an excellent piece of, it's a Chrome extension, or Firefox extension, Safari, all the main browsers have it. It's free. It's very easy to download and install. I think it most requires is restarting the browser. From there, another browser extension that's on all the major browsers is HTTPS everywhere. It's done by the EFF, and what it does is very simple. Is whenever you go to a website that offers the secure HTTP connection, it will default to that rather than the non-secure. It's not going to protect you from a lot of attacks, but it's a very easy way to reduce the chances of you getting compromised as you browse. Going from there is Camel, which is a very silly name for a very useful tool. What it is it is a website that tracks basically every Amazon product over its entire existence on Amazon. That way, when something goes on sale, you can easily hop over to here and see, is this really the best deal it's going to be, or does it normally drop lower? And you can also set up notifications saying like, I want to buy this cast iron pan, but I don't want to pay more than $5. So tell me when it costs $5 or less. So it's a really handy tool if you have a few big budget items you want to track, or just want to know how good of a sale it is, or how good of a deal you're getting on an item. From there, advanced Google search tools. This could be almost a whole webinar by itself, but I just want to briefly touch on a few of these things. Google is a very powerful search engine. It does a lot of things, and I don't see people taking full advantage of most of them. I haven't written them out on the slide just because I don't want to throw walls of text, but if you look up guides, you can find them. Some of the more common ones people know are like Booleans or putting things in quotes to limit the searches. But even beyond those, like you can put tilde in front of something and that'll search for synonyms, which is really handy if you're looking for, looking for something about cars, be okay with trucks or pickups and all that stuff. You can, if you're looking for a range of numbers, you can put 2 periods between the ends. So you could say 1985 ... 1987, and that'll return results for all of those numbers. You can do things like searching on a specific website, because often websites just don't have very good on-site search engines, so you're better off going to Google and having it do it for you. And you can also search for different fields, like you can search for, I want to find these words, but only in the title of the web page or only in the URL of the web page, something like that. So there's loads of really helpful, some of them are fairly niche, but powerful tools in Google search. So I'm not showing off these tips because most of the time if you know they exist, you can look them up, but me showing them to you now is probably not going to be very helpful. Whoops. Next, another Google tool is Google Scholar. This is another little known feature, but they contain thousands, if not millions, of things of both case law, of papers, both case law, which is probably more relevant to people attending this, but they also contain a lot of research papers. It's free, it's searchable, filterable, all the usual Google things. Definitely, like if you're using at least the Westlaw, it might be less useful, but if you're on the go, you don't have access to it, this is handy. Or if you want to share this with someone else who might not have access to it, it's just like a really convenient tool that costs nothing. Moving away from specific software, I highly recommend everyone doing any amount of work on a computer have a second monitor. I'm using 2 right now, and it's indispensable for like managing this webinar, but even just doing browsing or documents, being able to have one monitor that's got the working document and one that's got your research, it's very helpful. Or maybe you've got some stream on you could have the video on one monitor and you work on the main one. So either you're watching a football game or maybe you're watching C-SPAN. Like whatever you're doing, it's very helpful. Jillian's mentioning she may have 3 monitors. Right now, actually, I wish I had 3 monitors too, but I don't think my desk can support it just with the horizontal width. I would need to go vertical, which is maybe a little excessive. But some monitors are great. Working with one monitor is kind of painful. I don't recommend it if you can avoid it. And also, monitors are cheap. You don't need to get a gigantic one. So I have a question from Allison DeBelder. So having two monitors, the image does not, you don't lose image quality. The one thing is, if you don't have a good graphics card and you're doing graphics intensive things, that can tax your graphics card. So if you think about it, like if you have one monitor, you need to like have your computer draw into that real estate. Another monitor is more real estate that you need to computer to compute what goes there and then draw it. So if you're doing things like browsing and non-intensive things, it's probably not a significant additional tax. But if you're doing video editing or like streaming video on one and doing some sort of intensive work on the other, then you might need to upgrade your graphics card. We have a quick question from Alice Roberts. This is indeed going to be recorded and uploaded, and we will do our best to also preserve comments and the additional things that are going in chat. So yes, definitely check this out later. Going on to the next tip is Amazon Smile. This is a way that people can, sorry, I have a quick question. Yeah. As going back to the comment from Kenneth, one, to using different monitors, one to see the website, second to edit the code, third to inspect visual elements. Like everyone has a different workflow for using additional monitors, but everyone can find value from it. So I highly recommend it. Sorry, being less distracted. Going back, so Amazon Smile. You can tell Amazon, I would like to donate 0.5% of all of the money I spend on this account to a nonprofit of my choice. And there's a giant list, and I think they just like scrape the US government's 501c3 list. And it costs you nothing as a user, so it's a very easy way to put a small percentage of all your spendings towards a nonprofit of your choice, like maybe your own even, who knows. And it's another way they can say, hey, you may not have a lot of money, but this is a way you can donate some money at no cost to yourself. So it's a very good way to get other people to donate to causes you think are worth supporting. So you should never buy anything not on it, and everyone else should. Nobody should buy anything not using Amazon Smile. The way you use it is just put smile.amazon and then go from there. Next tip, similar to a second monitor, gaming mice are really helpful. Oh, I'm getting a comment that isn't a way to use Smile on the mobile app. That is unfortunate if true. I don't normally buy things on a mobile app, so I can't speak from experience. And also getting more feedback. So your organization does need to sign up with Amazon to get their donations, but it is free. So with gaming mice, they will cost you not much more than normal mice, but they'll be far more comfortable because both ergonomics and often they'll be weighted a little bit, so they actually feel a little bit more satisfying to use. For most people, it's not important, but they do perform better. Like they're more, like when you move the mouse a little bit, it'll be more accurate, more responsive. You can often, depending on what you're doing, like toggle the sensitivity up and down. So that's nice. They have extra buttons. I generally only go for a couple extra buttons on the side, as you can see in this one. But they're really handy for just navigating around. I use them for forward and backwards in web browsers or in Explorer when I'm, just navigating around. And it's like a small time savings, but it becomes very natural. And it's the same way, like if you can imagine, it's not a big deal, but if you didn't have the mouse wheel, scrolling up and down would just be like a little bit more annoying every time you did it. And the final thing is gaming mice just last longer. Like they're designed for people that will spend 8, 10, 12 hours a day playing games using the mouse. And most of us don't spend that much time on the machine. So if you get one of these, it'll last you many, many years. So and because they don't cost much more than a normal mouse, I think they're just a better investment. From there, fast.com. So fast.com is like one of those places where you go and it'll tell you how fast the internet is. The downside is it will only tell you how fast you're downloading things. They figure that's the thing that most people are concerned about. So they don't tell you your upload speed or your ping or a lot of those things. What makes fast.com special is that they are run by and hosted on Netflix servers. One of the big issues that some of the things like speedcheck.net and others have is that your ISPs know that you're going there to check your speed. So even if you're only getting, say, 40 megabytes down or megabits down, when you go to there, they will prioritize your connection and give you a better connection than you get anywhere else. So it'll give you an inaccurate idea of how much you're getting from your ISP, which is probably legal, but unethical. With fast.com, because it's hosted by Netflix, the only way they could give fast.com speed checks a false sense of how fast they are is by giving all of Netflix that bonus. And given Netflix is one of the major offenders in their eyes for sucking up bandwidth, they're highly unlikely to do that. So if you go to fast.com, that'll give you probably the best idea of what sort of performance you can expect from your internet connection. Okay, and from there, I believe this is my last one, Snopes.com. You've got the uncle that shares all the emails. You got the person that puts all the dramatic Facebook messages out. Before you hit share, before you re-forward it, please just fact check it real quick. It'll save everybody a lot of grief and just keep the world a little bit more accurate. And I think that's it for me. Thank you, everyone. And let's move on to Gene.
Just a quick comment here. We've been answering several of the questions in the chat with links, so you should be able to click those directly. It was asked whether this was being recorded. It definitely is, and the link there to the NTEP YouTube channel is there. We've got over 150 past trainings, including our last 4 years of 50 tech tips.
Great. Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Jeannie Ortiz. I am the Disaster Response Legal Fellow at Pro Bono Net. I'll be sharing some of the tips that I have been using for a while now and for my work. So the first one is Colorzilla. This is an extension that can be used with the Chrome browser or as an add-on in Firefox. It can be downloaded at colorzilla.com. And there are other programs that do this, but this is simple because with the extension, you just hover over the color of the web page, and it gives you the exact color code that you can paste into another program. For example, if I'm working on any marketing materials or presentations around our program, I can just enter the color hues in Word or PowerPoint from the results that the extension gives me. It has other features too, but one of the most useful ones is the color history, because once you use it, it stores it, and so you can go back and look at the colors that you used. I've been using timeanddate.com for a while, and so far it's the best that I've used. It's fun, clean, simple, and has a variety of calculators related to time and even distance. So it's useful when you need to count days, for example, for court deadlines or appeals. My favorite are the date calculator. So you can add or subtract years, months, weeks, days from a date, the date-to-date calculator, and the time difference calculator. So for example, when scheduling webinars in 5 different time zones, you just enter your time zone or even your city, and it will show you the hours and the rest of the locations you add. And it also lets you pick a date in the future and sort the results by time or city. This page allows you to test your website on mobile devices. And I find it neat because you don't have to be going to your smartphone to check how your site looks every time. Also, it shows you how your website shows across different mobile devices. So you just enter your website link and it will show you how it looks and even give you a score, rank, and test results as to how your site is performing on mobile devices. Another similar site is mobiletestme.com. mobiletest.me, and it's an alternative to testing with mobile performance. Both of them are also free. So 2 quick tips here. The difference between the full page screen capture and a screenshot is that the screenshot only shows what is framed on your screen. So this scans the whole page of your current browser window. It's a Chrome extension you can add, and it's super easy to use. Once it scans your whole page, it will give you the option to save the shot in PDF form or as an image. And I find this helpful for presentations on what a resources page looks like. And you can also use it to share snapshots of any page when explaining how to navigate or use a site. And just for fun, I added the URL shortener because frequently I still see long URLs in emails or social media. And this is also a Chrome extension. And instead of going to a page like, for example, bit.url, you can just click on the extension and it'll shorten whatever link you have on that page. And so Lauren mentioned this software. As you may know, Asana is a project management software that really helps keep track of your tasks and facilitates collaboration with a team. And one of the cool features that Asana keeps improving is the app integration to the software. You can use, you can integrate more than 90 applications to make your work easier. And I really get too excited about this because I use a lot of apps, so it's very nice to use a software that can easily incorporate other applications. Some of the applications that you can integrate are Dropbox, Google Drive, Gmail calendars, Microsoft Office, Slack, Jira, Sendex, and Harvest. And these all have different functions, and they provide a description of what the integration does. And for the full list, you can go to asana.com/apps. And some of them are free, but others are low cost. Also, fun fact, Asana can be downloaded to your iPhone or Android device, so you can update tasks whenever you're on the go. So WhatsApp was used in disaster areas, especially for Hurricane Maria in Puerto Rico, for coordinating brigades and organizing and mobilizing volunteers. And one of the things that I've realized is that a lot of people aren't aware of the web feature of the application. So when you have WhatsApp on your phone, you can also access messages from your computer. And this allows you to work and chat with colleagues as if you were using your phone. All you have to do is type web.whatsapp.com in your browser, open the app in your phone, tap Settings, select WhatsApp Web, and point your phone to the code on the browser. And you have the option to stay signed in and show notifications for whenever someone messages you. This one is really helpful too, CanScanner. So I learned about this one in law school when one of us would print maybe a 50-page case and then the rest would just pull out their phones and scan the pages. It works as a scanner. All you have to do is take a picture of the document and it will turn into a scanner. You can save it as a PDF and then share across applications. I like to use it for important receipts or for when I need to send a signed document via email. This one is available for Windows. It's a free-form tool for screenshot snips. You don't have to download it. Just search for snipping tool in the start button and it should come up. It's pretty straightforward. You just select whichever area you want to highlight and you can save it as an image. This is more of a writing tip for when you're out of words and are feeling adventurous about your vocabulary. It's pretty straightforward, and I think it's good for brainstorming or for writing long documents that have repeated words. I use thesaurus.com very frequently. So for bilingual or trilingual people or for staff working with multiple languages, this is a helpful tip, multiple keyboards. So for example, when I'm writing emails in both Spanish and English, it helps to have this functionality. I use the US International Keyboard because it includes accent use in Spanish, and so I can easily switch keyboards when using different languages. So all you have to do is go to the region and language settings and add a keyboard. And finally, Button Factory. This page lets you create buttons for websites. You can use one of their templates and adjust it to your own style, or use one of the other button presets. And when you're done, you can download it and save the button to your computer, and then add to your page, or click embed to directly integrate the button on a website. It's very user-friendly, and you can use Colorzilla, my first tip, to add the colors you want for the button's colors.
Great. Thank you so much, Jeannie. These are really wonderful tips. I just have a few myself now that we're rounding out. I don't have too much to add because our panelists have done such a wonderful job. Let me go ahead and get my screen sharing. So I just have a few here, but I wanted to add one of the ones I like to use, especially for those who are more on the tech side of the legal tech community, is builtwith.com. There are a few other tools similar to this, but it's pretty amazing. It allows you to view the tech stack that an organization is using. So for example, it scans the site and tells you, okay, the site's using Google Analytics, it's using a Twitter embed code, it's using e-commerce tools, etc. So I think it's really helpful if you're curious to see what, I'll do it occasionally if there's a website or an organization that I like what they're doing generally and I want to get a sense of their tech stack and I'm interested in new tools, I will go to builtwith.com and enter in a website's name. I also really like Down for Everyone or Just Me.com. Sometimes when you're browsing on a site and want to get a sense of whether that site's down for just you, maybe it's an internet issue, or it's something related to a particular server, like affecting OneCoast or not, I like to go to the site and just enter in the URL. And I did this with Google and says it's just you, Google is up. So pretty straightforward tool. There are ads on it, but it's pretty helpful to use. Kenneth notes that BuiltWith might be something that would be great for the new GDPR rules too that are rolling out across the EU. And if any of you have work in the EU or European customers, it is a helpful thing. And then my final tip is around LSNTAP, the LSNTAP trainings. A little bit meta since we're in one of the trainings now, but I have found in terms of thinking through best practices or other resources, if I am collecting things to refer other legal aid organizations to, I love to search the trainings bank for really helpful resources. There are several now. As Sart has mentioned, it goes back 5 years now. There's a great YouTube channel. So I love referencing the trainings library if I'm looking for some helpful best practice tips. I know that there was a webinar recently on user testing, and so I referred a number of colleagues to that site as a helpful tool. So definitely encourage you to check that out and some of the other trainings that are coming up soon. And that wraps up about the end of my tips. I wanted to note, thank you so much for attending today and to our wonderful presenters. If you would like, there's more information at lsntap.org. there's a great community there, and great expertise. So strongly encourage you to tap into that outside of these webinars.
Well, thank you so much. We greatly appreciate you putting this together, Jillian. And to all of our speakers. As mentioned, all of our past trainings are available on our YouTube channel. There's a quick link to that in the chat. If you've got any questions or comments or things that you would like to see us do trainings on in the future, there will be a full survey coming out, or feel free to contact me directly. We also started a new series called This Week in Legal Services Tech. It is available on YouTube. It's less than 5 minutes, and it just goes over what trainings are coming up, what RFPs are out there in the community, what things have recently been launched. I recommend subscribing to the YouTube channel, and you'll get a 5-minute kind of summary every week of new things going on. Thank you all.